Hello, today we are going to be going over the Art Education 6-point lesson plan template. So for the lesson plan assignment, I put my name down, and for the grade I decided to do grades 9 through 12. Lesson title will be Creating Your First Game Level. The lesson will be on the first day. Second day and third day will be used for completing the project, and fourth day for finishing touches and critique. Essential standards, we decided to go with the BV B B.V.3.2, which is use a variety of media, including 2D and 3D and digital, to produce art. And then we did hs.tt.1.1, which is use appropriate technology tools and other resources to access information, multi-database search engines, online primary resources, virtual interviews with content experts. So for the activity, we section 1 of it, the focus and review. Once class start bell rings, the teacher will say to the students, last class we talked about some of the important developers in the video game industry and why their work has made such an impact in the industry. At this point, the teacher proceeds to ask the class if anyone has worked in any sort of digital modeling programs, and then continues by saying, for this project, you will need some paper, a pencil, and an eraser, the computer in front of you, patience, and a good attitude. In this project, you'll be creating your own playable game level. The students will be learning how to create basic playable video game levels in the Unreal Engine, which is a free downloadable program used by professionals in the video game industry to make video games. For any student who has an aspiration to create 3D digital content, this is an easy way to introduce the student to easy to use creation tools that'll help them understand how objects interact in Z space. And decided to list this as about 5 minutes in the first day, just for the little recap and going into what the project's actually going to be and what they need. Then the next section, I also put this for about 5 minutes on the first day. Students will be able to create basic game levels that can share with their peers and be able to start a path into various future projects that the student might work on. They'll be, as the essential, they will be starting by drawing a 2D floor plan on paper that they will use as a guide when making their 3D level. And then for the second essential, students will be asked to search the internet for ideas for their level. Once the project is complete, students will take part in a critique to analyze what they did, how certain parts compare to other classmates, and evaluate the work based on the time put into the project and the problems that they faced along the way and what they had to do to overcome those problems. Teacher input, I decided to put this as about 10 minutes day 1 and about 30 minutes day 2. Teacher will show the basics of making a floor plan on day 1. And then on day 2, the teacher will teach students the basics of using Unreal Engine, how to make simple shapes so they can create their floor plan in 3D. The teacher will answer the questions the students might have, and if something needs to be retaught, then the teacher will demonstrate it again. Number 4, guided practice. On day 1, Students will begin to do their research and to make their 2D floor plans. Teacher will walk around making sure that students include basic things such as doors, walls, stairs, windows, and whatever else the student wishes to put. On days 2 and 3, the teacher will walk around and make sure the students are being able to create and place their shapes into their 3D space. The teacher will help students if issues pop up. Common issues that might appear might be software crashes, like Unreal Engine ends up deciding it doesn't want to work and it crashes, or there's a hardware malfunction, like something's going on with your Windows operating system, something's going on with your power supply, your mouse, your keyboard, your monitor, something like that's going wonky, and the student's going to need help to get it going. Clicking on a tool by accident, which results in the student not knowing what they did, and clicking on deleting or messing up placements of the object by accident. These errors can be resolved through troubleshooting, clicking different tools, using undo or redo keys, or editing the size and shape of placed objects. This will be taking place on the rest of the class days for days 1, 2, and 3, whenever it is needed. Independent practice. Students work on their own floor plan and game levels, only assisted if they ask for help or advice so that they can try different approaches to problems to help them grow their critical thinking skills. This will take place on the rest of days 1, 2, and 3 as well. Like I put on there, they'll only be assisted if they ask for it, which is why the guided practice is also on there for the rest of the class sessions as well. Then for our closure and cleanup, days 1, 2, and 3, time is used to remind students of what they need to have completed by their next class and to think about their levels and to write down ideas for them. All days, the students will put away any borrowed materials from the classroom before they leave the classroom. And I have that listed about 5 minutes because 5 minutes is a decent amount of time to let the students get all their stuff packed up, to give them those announcements that they need to know and remind them before they head out the door. And it doesn't take long to clean up the supplies for this project. So I figured that'd be a good way to do that. The assessment methods of all objectives skills include any modifications. For day 4, the teacher will lead the class in a critique and have the students comment on each other's work. We actually have to change that. Okay, so we corrected that, and we're gonna save the file. Okay. Grades will be based on a 2D floor plan, a 3D game level, active participation, and critique. Grading rubric will be used to will be used in relative to the above criteria. So let's put that in there as well and save it again. So what will end up happening is there'll be a grading rubric that'll have 2D floor plan, 3D game level, and critique as the things for it. And like the 2D floor plan might have like simple things like, did the student like make a floor plan? Did they do the research? Did they put in effort in thinking? Did they try to think of something that's not just a square room that has a few walls maybe in the center of it? Like, how much did the student think? Did the student remember to put things like doorways and windows and stuff like that in the actual floor plan? And the game level will reflect from the floor plan, and it will also have like a few more extra little criteria. The critique portion would have to deal with, did they participate in the critique? Did they show off their level? Did they comment on other people's levels? Did they bring up anything that they might have done that someone else had done and found like the same solution? Or just comparing like the different works, stuff like that. And then we have our directed questions for discussion. What is a floor plan? What is the Unreal Engine? What is Z-Space? How do you combine objects? How do you make an object a specific size? Then we have a really important one. Modifications to support varied learning needs. Teacher will create modifications dependent upon the specific learning needs of an individual student, of individual students. So if, say, for example, say the student is in the class and they are visually impaired, and so they can't actually see they can't see the computer screen. They can't really see what they're drawing on paper. The teacher could take some extra time to work one-on-one with the student and help them by help translate what they are seeing in their head and translate that to the paper, and also to help them create this little idea that they have in their head that they want to bring to life. And make it something that would be amazing to be able to share with the other students, like something that they see, something they want to be able to show. Because just because you have an impairment, it doesn't mean that you should be excluded from being able to do pretty much anything in art. Art is an expressive form of ourselves. Everything that we use in art is an extension of ourselves, whether it be a pencil, a paintbrush, a computer. It doesn't matter. It's an extension of us. So we should be able to help those that do have these impairments, people that have slower motor skills, people that can't really pick up the content as fast as other people. It can be broken at this level of a lesson. It can be broken down into something that these students can really understand, because it's a pure basic. It's you're creating a world, basically. You're creating this room or rooms. It's your own little area. You can make it whatever you want it to be. And it's an amazing outlet. And a lot of people really underestimate what you can do with things like this. Just because you know how to make a video game level doesn't mean you have to use that to go make a video game or do anything anywhere close to it. Use that to your advantage and enjoy yourself. Be able take these little ideas that you might have in your head, bring them to life, make it where it's something you can walk around in a digital plane. Heck, with virtual reality like Oculus Rift, you can actually go and put on the Oculus Rift and you can walk around in this world that you have created. And the feel of being able to actually turn your head in an environment that you created and be able to see things from different angles. And it's a surreal experience. And it's definitely something that everyone should experience. Just being able to have that feeling of being in another world, actually seeing it. So being able to help any learning needs that are needed is something that I think is very important. And I know that a lot of teachers would put some non-applicable for this, and I think that excludes students that need it the most. Students that are crying to be able to express themselves in another way because of something that either they can't do or they can't see or hear or feel. And yeah. So we're going to move on to the next section. Materials, technology, references. Paper, pencil, eraser, computer with the Unreal Engine installed. And then reflection on the lesson, it's listed as not applicable. Overall, I'd say that the lesson with the project would be something that a high school student who wants to do something a little different than the average art course, not some foundations, for instance. They want to do something that's more on the technology side and something that's more in their interest range. This would be a wonderful option. And with that, I am going to save the document one more time just to make sure. And then we're going to end this video.